You were just telling me about all the different places that you've been around the world in your off season, from the DR to Texas to Florida and everywhere in between. So much of that Red Sox related with your teammates. Why was that so important to you?
I felt like team camaraderie, collaboration is important, and if we want to improve on some of our areas of struggle last year in terms of defense, I just felt like it was important for me to get to Texas to work with Trevor and Vaughn because he's new to the organization, and to go down to work with Rafi and Emmanuel Valdez and Pablo. That's pretty much a full infield right there. So we were really just getting down to the specifics of the positions, me letting them know kind of where I want them to set up on throws down to second base, or even me covering first base, which side of the bag I stand on, just really nitpicking and getting down to the things that we can actually make adjustments before spring training. So when we get here, I can, hit the ball running. I've worked on them in the off season. I think I'm in a good place with everybody on the infield, and first base is a really important position in the infield. It besides the catcher, could be considered the leader of the infield. And if you look at the last two World Series teams, the Diamondbacks and the Rangers, Nathaniel Lowe and Christian Walker each respectively won the Gold Glove for their league, along with catcher as well, Gabriel Moreno and Jonah Himes. So those are two extremely important positions if you want to play deep into the postseason. So if we're going to play the caliber of baseball I know we are capable of doing, I have to do my part.
It's a heck of an answer about defense. I remember talking to you like the last few years about offense, and you giving like similar conversations about how you think about it. And obviously you have your process and you're cerebral about offense. How much have you taken about your approach and the way that you're so single-minded about the way your offensive game is into the defensive side this offseason?
You're saying how much did I apply that thought process of offense to defense?
Yeah, just how focused
Sure.
you are.
I understand. Offense is one of those things that doesn't directly affect everybody else, but defense absolutely does. If you make an error on the infield, it impacts everybody else on the field. It affects your pitchers because they have to throw extra pitches, but then it affects the bullpen because at a certain point they got to come in earlier to throw extra pitches. It affects AC because he's got to make tough decisions about who to bring in and what situations too early into the game. So it also affects momentum. Momentum is such a big part of the game as well. So making errors, limiting the amount of errors, keeping infield defense crisp, and playing a good style of aesthetic baseball, I think is what I'm really focused on this season. The offensive side, I feel, is going to be there if I stay within myself. I control the zone like I feel like I can. But the defense, it needs to be better, and I'm working really hard on it.
You mentioned the offensive side. Defensive side is obviously the focus, but I thought it was fun because I think we sat in this exact spot a year ago and talked about learning, getting that little bit of a taste of the major leagues the year before, getting that experience, and then saying, all right, how do I take that into this year? We talked about you playing the show a little bit and imagining the stadiums and all of that. It's one thing to say all that. It's another thing to go out on the field and put on a Red Sox uniform and hit in Fenway Park and play the way that you did in your first full season. Not that you're looking for validation because you believe in your process, but what was it like for your process to work the way that it did?
It wasn't initially working though, and it's funny you mentioned the parks and then will be the show. I felt like that was part of the adjustment period, was getting to all these parks that I grew up watching on TV and playing against all my favorite players growing up. I consider myself a little bit of a baseball historian, and I follow the game and I have my whole life. So sometimes I get a skewed misperception of success because I just watch MLB Network or Sports Center, and all I see is all these great players hitting home runs and making diving plays. So I expect that out of myself, and when it doesn't necessarily happen, sometimes I will get frustrated going through the league one time and seeing all these guys have bad at-bats and swing at balls in the dirt and make errors kind of settled me down and made me realize that I belong here just like they do. They're great players in their own right, but I'm also one as well. So I think that second half was a lot of that mindset, just playing more relaxed and understanding that it's okay to make mistakes, and just learning from failure is okay.
How do you like you said success, like how I define success. How do you define success for you?
That's a great question. I've worked in this off season. I've worked really hard on being present. What does it mean to be present? It means not carrying the burden of success or failure. I feel that there comes a burden with both. If you're successful, people expect a lot out of you, and if you're a failure, then you know. I think everybody at a certain point knows how that feels, but how long you carry that burden with you, is up to you. I like to carry the burden of success for as long as the bat is in contact with the ball. I feel that once the ball is in the air and the ball is over the fence, as I am rounding the bases, I no longer have that success anymore. It was gone. When I'm in the dugout giving high fives to my teammates, I don't have it anymore. So it doesn't affect me when I go out to the field. It doesn't affect me when I come into the dugout. It's already gone. It's happened. And the same goes for failure. Just as easy as it is to walk past people when you have success, it is when you have failure. I can hit a ground ball to second base. I can veer off, come into the dugout. I can walk past the guy at the end of the dugout. I can walk past the guy at the cooler. I can walk past my coach on this top step. I can walk past the guy on deck on the in-hole circle. But that's 4 different guys that I could have aided with my failure. So learning how to flush that as soon as I can is going to be a big focus this year, and also the same thing with success.
When you talk about that, that is leadership in some way. That is leadership, not, whether you say anything or not, that is leading by example. And if you say something, that it's leading in a different way. I know that's important to you because I can hear it in your voice when you say it. But when you kind of, think about this group and having an opportunity in your second full season to be a leader and be a voice the way that you were in the off season and the way that you hope to be in 2024, how excited are you for that opportunity for this team and this organization?
Absolutely. I think I do the controllable things really well. I don't preach getting hits or hitting home runs or making diving plays. I preach effort, energy, attitude, attention to detail, accountability. Those are things that you can definitely be conscious of and constantly be getting better. There's a lot of variables in baseball. I believe there's a lot of luck involved. And it's the only thing in the world, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that you can do everything right and still have a bad result. So it's a hard concept to grasp, but just trying to keep everybody centered, trying to keep myself present, just by doing the things that I can control is my main focus.
I could do this all day, but I think that'll do it. Appreciate your time.
For sure. Thank you.